What is up, everybody? We are live here on
What's up?
When Tunes Combine. Of course, on YouTube, on StreamYard, on Facebook, wherever you may be watching us right now. You'll probably be listening to us on Spotify in about 3 weeks because that's probably when Eric's going to upload the episode.
No, I'll probably do it tonight. I was going to do it after the show so I can do last week's too.
Yeah, because he usually uploads everything like 2 weeks behind. But all right, so welcome to When Tunes Combine. This is going to be the second matchup in the Cartoon Classic. I am Dutchy. That is Money E. So it's just going to be us judging tonight. I don't know if anybody else is going to join us in the chat room or not, which you kind of expect everybody to kind of have plans, just a few days before Christmas.
Yep.
So this is our last podcast that Eric and I are doing for the year 2024. Now, Daniel and Mindy will still be on air tomorrow for the Stabcast because Daniel wouldn't even be able to get out of that even if he were dead, because Mindy would have Mindy would build a new Daniel just to get the podcast out.
I might go live tomorrow too.
All right. Going to compete against the other people on our network. All right.
What time are you going on?
I have no clue. All right. So tonight's league matchup, it's the Other Planets League. It is He-Man Masters of the Universe versus Biker Mice from Mars versus Alf the Animated Series versus Star Trek the Animated Series. Now, last week, for anybody that joined us but did not hear me give out the final scores, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles won by a half a point last week. So They won. So they had 148.5 points. Simpsons had 148. Captain Planet had 105.5. And Eric just left me. Sonic Saturday AM had.
Sorry about that.
You're an idiot.
My phone went to sleep mode or something.
And then Sonic Saturday AM had 101.5 points. So, and what we're going to do is the top 10 are going to advance, but then we're going to have 4 wild cards for the next round, because the next round is going to be a single elimination tournament. So the 10 that advance, the 10 that win their leagues, and then the 4 wild cards that score the highest amount of points after. So right now, every team that won, or every show that competed last week is in the second round for right now. The league winner tonight will join them, and then the next runner-up, the next one in points, will join them for right now. Obviously, that all could possibly change, because there's going to be certain episodes where we hopefully have a third judge, maybe a fourth, something like that, to help us out. But tonight it's just Eric and I. So, so the Other Planet is Other Planets. So basically, He-Man took place on the planet of Eternia. Biker Mice from Mars. It didn't necessarily take place on Mars, but I use that as a loophole. Because sometimes they do go back to the planet Plutarch. And plus, Eric can't really say anything because he put green turtles in a blue league.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then of course, Star Trek the Animated Series, they were aboard a spaceship, so they were always in space. And Alf the Animated Series took place on the planet Melmac. But all right, so without any further ado, let's get started here. So basically, there's 5 categories we are judging here. Go on a score from 1 to 10. Highest score obviously wins. But your categories are theme song, animation quality, characters and / character development, storylines storylines / episodes, and humor and entertainment value. Now, Eric, you had told me that the scores for these cartoons were going to be a lot lower than last week's.
Yes.
Now, it's obvious because last week we had a third judge. This week we do not. But so, like, you don't think that any of these cartoons kind of measure up to, the cartoons from last week?
No. I'm just being honest.
Yeah. So, all right. So
maybe one, but
yeah, we'll get more into that obviously as we go along here. But all right. So the first category is theme song. And we're going to start with He-Man. And Eric, I'll just go ahead and start with you. Scale of 1 to 10, and then you can obviously explain. Scale of 1 to 10, what do you give He-Man's theme song?
A 2. I didn't find any rhythm in it. I don't think it was even a song, was it?
It's more like an entry. It's more like a entry video or like a intro video where he's explaining like what's going on. I mean, there's music to it.
Yeah, it just didn't. It just didn't find my taste in like the others last week. So I'll give it a 2.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give it a 4. Just because, I mean, yes, it does a good job of introducing, like, giving a backstory to the He-Man character and what the story is. But yeah, like, it's not necessarily. I don't think it's really that good. That's why I'm only giving it a 4.
Yeah.
So, off to a great start for He-Man.
Sorry for the He-Man fans. Do you know any He-Man fans?
Yeah, an entire group. Well, everybody that I've asked, I'm like, pick your favorite of the 4, and they're like, oh, it's He-Man, 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 because I think He-Man is the more popular
show
of the 4 here.
Yeah, I didn't expect Star Trek to be popular because that's before our time.
Yeah. But all right, so let's move on. The next show where we're going to discuss the theme song, very dear, close, personal friend of yours, Alf.
Alf, I give it a 1. I didn't think the theme song had no rhythm to it if we're comparing to last week with all 4.
Well, remember, they're not competing with last week. They're competing with. So don't judge it based on what we saw last week.
Yeah,
right? That's going to be another time if they meet each other in later rounds. Obviously, if they get there, because that's when we'll determine which one was better.
I still give it a 1 because I didn't find any rhythm to it, any like catchy thing to it or anything.
Yeah. I'm gonna disagree. I'm actually gonna give it an 8, because I feel like that this was of the 4. I feel like there was a lot more rhythm, and this is like an actual song, and it's being sung and all that. So I give it an 8, and it is kind of catchy. But like, it's not. I mean, it's not the best theme song out there. Of the 4, it might be the best.
I got you.
But
it's always good to disagree.
Yeah. So
because last week we agreed a lot.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
3 of us. So
yeah. I mean, and it's just like because there was really no point differential, or there was like a half a point differential in between the Simpsons and Ninja Turtles, and like 4 points separated Captain Planet and Sonic.
Wow. Yeah. So
So
last week we were all in
we were all like in sync. We all basically had it in mind. Okay, this is the two favorites, which obviously are probably going to be the two favorites to win the tournament.
Yeah.
Depending on whatever else moves on.
Exactly.
Or win the Cartoon Classic. And then obviously after we get done with the Cartoon Classic, we're going to be doing another tournament type thing because I feel like the tournaments are going to help get more people involved, and it's also going to help you develop into like being able to speak more instead of me just reading a script. So it kind of helps build the show a little more that we do like more interactive stuff like this.
And we get more people involved. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And that helps build things up. But
not to say that you're not to say that what you were doing was bad or anything. I liked it.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying what I'm doing was bad either. And I will continue it at some point, but also just trying to build the base up a little bit.
Exactly. And it's always good to take a little break in between.
Well, yeah. I mean, Christ, I wrote like 25 of them in a row.
Yeah, we did like 25 in a row besides that one top 10 that you did in between. So
yeah. So all right. So let's move on to the next one. Theme song. All right, Eric, 1 to 10. What do you give Star Trek the Animated Series?
Let me check. Hold on. I didn't think it wasn't really a song to me. I thought it was just an intro.
All right, what'd you give it? Because you did kind of freeze.
1.
1?
Yeah.
All right, so this is another one. So Star Trek the Animated Series, it was just basically an animated version of the original Star Trek movies and the original Star Trek show.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for anybody that's a fan of the original Star Trek show, like this is basically something like back in the day, if you were a fan of the Star Trek show, this was kind of just something to get your kids into. Okay. As far as the theme song goes, because I like the theme song for the original Star Trek, I'm gonna give it a 6.
Maybe if I watched more episodes, it would be.
Yeah. But I mean, again, because it matches the the kind of the deal with the original series, I think that's what kind of helps makes the theme song catchy to me.
Yeah.
So
I was surprised this was 1973.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I said, "Wow, we're actually doing a 1973 cartoon. Pretty cool."
Yeah. Well, I mean, at some point we are going to, the Jetsons are going to be part of this. They were in the late 60s.
Oh, that's right.
Scooby-Doo was in the late 70s. The Flintstones were in the 60s. So, all right, next one, theme song, or the last one in this category. Biker Mice from Mars. What do you give the theme song?
A 3.
Okay. No, you can give more than that, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I thought this was actually a better theme song than all 4 of the 4.
Yeah.
I actually like the rhythm, but it wasn't the greatest, so that's why I give it a 3.
So, I like this cartoon, and I think it's gonna rule in other categories. But to me, the theme song is not the category it's gonna rule in. So I'm only gonna give it a 5.
Okay.
I mean, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with just having a generic theme song.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I think all four are really generic to me.
Yeah. Well, Alpha's the only one that had like actual words. So, but sometimes you just need like a generic, like a lot of cartoons today really don't have theme songs that much. It's just like a
Exactly.
little intro video. But all right, so that's theme songs. The second category we're going to judge is animation quality. So we'll start with He-Man. We'll start with Eric.
I give it a 5. I thought it was pretty decent for the show. I thought it was good quality.
Yeah, and this is 1983.
Yeah.
So
for its time, I think it's good quality.
Yeah, for its time, and Filmation, which is a company that made this, Filmation was like the top. You had Hanna-Barbera and you had Filmation.
Yeah.
The two like main leaders in cartoons at the time. Obviously, Filmation had, kind of ceased to exist later on in the 80s. But Filmation, I think, always did a really good job with their cartoons. I'm giving the animation quality a 9.
Okay.
So, all right, let's move on. And welcome to anybody welcome to anybody that's listening to us right now. Feel free to jump in and give your opinions if you have any of what you rate the shows in these categories in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. If you'd rather just sit and watch, just sit and watch.
Exactly.
All right, we're gonna go to Alf, Eric.
I think this is the highest one of the categories I give it. I give it actually a pretty quality wise. I give it a 5.
You give it a 5?
Yeah.
All right, so you give it the same score that you gave He-Man.
Yeah.
All right, hey Mark, how you doing?
Hey Mark.
Yeah.
Welcome back. What do you give if you have a score?
Yeah, if you have a score for animation quality for He-Man, for Alf, for any of them, if you have any opinions, feel free to share them in the chat here. If not, if you would rather just sit and listen, if you're just happen to be at work and just sitting and listening, I don't want to get you in trouble at work. So anyway, all right. So you give Alpha 5.
Yeah, I think this is my highest score of the categories, I think.
Yeah. Well, you gave it the same score you gave He-Man.
Yeah. No, I mean for Alf.
Okay.
Of the 5 categories.
Yeah. So animation quality, I'm giving Alf. I'm gonna give it another 9.
Okay.
Because I actually did like the animation quality of this. I feel like it's done a good job, and I'm going to be I'm going to be very generous when it comes to Alf because I actually did enjoy the show. I know more than you did, but
yeah.
I actually think it's good animation quality.
I'll say this. After rewatching it, it isn't as bad as I originally thought.
Yeah.
So I'll say that.
Yeah. And it's
rewatching
one of those,
it.
And they were capitalizing at the time when they made the show. They were capitalizing on the success of the sitcom.
Yeah. So I guess rewatching it kind of changed my mind on how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I still don't like it, but I don't hate it as much as I did.
Right. All right. So Star Trek, what do you give the animation quality?
An 8, because I think for 1973, I think it was really good.
Yeah. What'd you give it?
An 8.
Okay. For 1973, I thought it was really good. I'm giving it a 6. I mean, for 1973, and I'm not saying that like it's bad or anything like that. I'm just saying is that like with the quality and like how kind of like slow paced it is. I mean, it's looks like a 70s cartoon because I think a lot of the 70s, because this was also done Filmation style. 1973, Filmation's kind of in its infancy and kind of trying stuff out. So, but yeah, I thought they did a decent job. So yeah, I give it a 6. All
I
right.
like how we're all over the place.
Yeah. All right, Eric, Biker Mice.
I give it a 5 too. I thought the quality was really good. I mean, average. 5 is an average, so I actually like the quality.
So, you know what? And this is the cartoon that kind of the 4 that came out the latest because it came out in 93.
Okay. So 73, 93, and 83.
Yeah. And then Elf came out in 87 or 87, yeah. I'm giving Biker Mice's animation quality a 7.
Okay.
I don't know, like again, 90s, and this was one of those, it's kind of like, okay, it's competing with the likes of like the Nickelodeon cartoons, the Disney cartoons. Cartoon Network really wasn't, I mean, they were a thing, but they weren't really developing their own shows yet. But so they were kind of competing, but they're kind of on a low level, and they're one of the bigger cartoons that doesn't really have a streaming service yet. Like they're just, all their episodes are on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
So, Mark, do you have any opinions in the chat room on like the animation quality for any of these shows? Or are you just listening to see like if you have something to critique about us later on in the show? But all right, so it looks like it kind of looks like it's going to be pretty even, I think. Right now, because I think that second category kind of like even things out a little bit.
Are you going to do a poll if there's a tie for first?
I'll do a poll. I'll do a poll in like a few groups. Yeah.
Or Mark can be tiebreaker if he wants.
Yeah. But all right. So the next category, Eric, is characters, and we'll start with He-Man.
I also give this a 5.
Okay.
I thought the characters were pretty decent. I liked the characters. I thought it's another hero show, so
yeah. All right. So the funny thing, you have Adam, He-Man, who's the main protagonist, the main character, the main hero. Then you have his people. You have his mother and father, the king and queen. You have Man-at-Arms, who basically knows that Adam is He-Man. You have the little wizard Orko, who I think is like, who I actually think is a really good character, and kind of like gives humor to the show.
Yeah.
You have Cringer, the cowardly tiger, but then when he gets the power, he becomes the beast or whatever they call him, and he becomes a lot more courageous, which I personally happen to like. That Skeletor is a good villain, as are like some of the other like villains that they kind of run into. Teela is a really good damsel in distress. She's Man-at-Arms' daughter. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to give the characters I'm gonna give them a 10.
Were these your favorite characters of the 4 shows?
No, somebody else is getting a 10.
Okay.
But yeah, just because like they're good characters and they all serve a purpose.
Yep. Each have their own role.
Yeah. So Eric, on the Elf.
I'm gonna give it a 4. I thought Alf was funny at times, annoying at times.
Well, remember, this is the characters of all the characters in the show.
Yeah, I found the reason it bumped it up is because I like the other characters. I
Yeah.
liked Alf the least, but I thought the son was pretty cool, and all the other characters were
Yeah.
good.
So I'm gonna give it a 7. Because to be honest with you, as far as the characters go, there's only 2 characters in the show that I actually like. And that's Gordon, Alf,
Yep.
and I like his dad.
You didn't like the girl?
I didn't really see a lot of episodes because Rhonda, they call Rhonda like the main antagonist or the main, girl of the show. She wasn't really in a lot of episodes.
Yeah, because I watched from the beginning, so I think I only saw him once
Yeah.
or twice.
So, but yeah, no, I'll give it a 7 just because of the Alf and his dad.
Who did you not like?
I didn't. I'm not necessarily a fan of Alf's buddies or of Gordon's buddies.
Yeah.
To me, they're kind of just there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, let's move on to Star Trek.
I give it a 5.5.
This is what's really going to help differentiate some of the scores.
I thought I wasn't a big Star Trek fan, so this was like kind of new for me. But
Yeah.
But I thought for 1973, the characters were pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty above average for its time.
Right. I'm to be honest with you, I'm gonna give them a 9, just because like they're characters based off the show.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have O'Hara, you have Kirk, Spock, Zulu, the other characters on the ship. And trust me, I'm not an original Star Trek guy. I'm more Star Trek: The Next Generation with like Captain Picard and
Is there a cartoon for that?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But no, I felt like because these original characters that were part of the original Star Trek, them being incorporated in the cartoon, I happen to like them.
Yeah.
So, all right, Biker Mice.
I'll give it a 7. I thought the characters were pretty good. I think this is of the 4, this the one I enjoyed the most.
So the funny thing is that I feel like each one of these characters served a purpose, and I've got nothing wrong with any of these characters. Yep. I actually think Charlie Davison is a lot more of an appealing character than April O'Neil of the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Now, do you compare this show more to Ninja Turtles or Ghostbusters? I was debating.
Ninja Turtles.
Okay. That's my original thought. Then I said, wait, maybe Ghostbusters too, but
I mean, it might be a little bit. I mean, and we'll see. Maybe Ghostbusters will end up in the second round of the turn. I mean, their league battle is going to be coming up soon, I'm sure.
Yep.
But as far as like the characters in this show, because the villains, and this is going to go a lot more towards humor and entertainment value, because was extremely entertained by Biker Mice from Mars.
Yeah.
But like even like the villains, like they just seem kind of goofy. I mean, they're evil, but they're goofy.
Exactly.
But I'm going to give the characters a 10. So,
of the 4, was this your favorite show too?
Uh I got a soft spot for Alf as well. I think He-Man was probably the more popular of the four,
Yeah.
but I like Biker Mice and I like Alf. I'm not necessarily a He-Man fan. I mean,
Yeah. He-Man didn't work for me either.
yeah. Truth be told, He-Man is in this because one, it fits the criteria of Other Planet, and two, there's a friend of mine and Dan's at work who absolutely hates He-Man. So I'm doing it. I'm doing this to screw with him.
I forgot there was somebody that hates He-Man.
Yeah.
So he's hoping that we all give low scores, right?
Yeah. Which is really not happening.
Besides, I did give them a 1, I think, for.
No, you gave them a 2.
Okay.
Earlier on.
So that was nice. That was nice.
So storylines and episodes is the next category. We're starting with He-Man, and Eric, we're starting with you.
I give it a 5. I thought the storyline and plot was pretty decent. I was entertained by it. I thought it served a purpose.
Like there's an episode, like a lot of the episodes where it's basically just like Teela getting in trouble and He-Man trying to save her. There's one specific episode off the top of my head where it's just like they go to somebody who's trying to hunt a unicorn, and it's the last unicorn in Eternia, and she wants to just hang the guy.
Yeah.
And Adam's like, we got to talk to him. We got to talk, we got to be cordial with this guy. And then he's like, oh, I'm still going through with the hunt. And then, then he had them locked up in a dungeon, and because he doesn't want He-Man or Adam doesn't want Teela to know that he's He-Man, even though her father already knows.
Yeah.
But parents usually don't tell their kids everything. But like as far as like some of the storylines go, like a lot of the storylines where it's like again, it follows the same plot almost, but a couple of the episodes where like I think there was an episode where an evil sorceress had Teela do her dirty work. And it's just like I thought they were decent enough episodes. I'm gonna give them a 7.
And they never made a He-Man movie, right?
They might have. I know they brought this back a couple of times. I don't know if there's a live action He-Man movie or not.
Would you compare this to a Transformers? No.
Not necessarily Transformers. I really don't know what to kind of compare. Well, I kind of compare it like it's almost like Thundercats. I feel like this and Thundercats and even G.I. Joe all kind of battle.
Oh, yeah, G.I. Joe. Okay. Maybe that's why I was thinking of.
Yeah.
For some reason, I said Transformers came to my head.
Yeah. So, all right. Moving on to the next cartoon category, storylines. Alf. Eric, go ahead.
Did I say what was my other score? I'm gonna give it a 5.5. Now is this the highest now? Did I say?
This is the highest that you've given this show, yeah.
Yeah, I give it a. I thought the storylines fit the characters and well, I'll be nice and say 5.5.
Yeah. To be honest with you, there's a few like episodes where it's just like, oh my god, this is so. Like I watched the episode today, The Birdman of Melmac, where they found out they had a rare bird at their house. So the guy that's chasing after this bird brings like his bird watching crew or something like that, and they take over the Shumway house. And it's just like, and he like takes over the house, and he's like, you can't get rid of us. And it's just like, take the freaking bird and go somewhere else. Like buy the bird from the Shumways.
Yep.
Like,
Exactly.
so that's an episode that I didn't like. There was an episode that I did like, which was Bob, Alf's father. Which in every show, it doesn't even matter if it's a cartoon, a sitcom, whatever. There's always a guy named Bob who's a complete idiot. And Alf's dad, what's funny is he trips on something because he's watching something with his youngest daughter or with his little daughter. He trips on something. He's got the stars around his heads, and they were watching a kids show. So now he thought, he thought he was Captain Bobaroo now. So he's like, "Hello, how do? I'm Captain Bobaroo," or however he sang it, and he thought he was the host of a kids show.
The reason I don't give it higher is because there is some stories that don't make sense or are just like thinking in your head, why am I watching this? I think that's the episode that we watched that I'm thinking, why am I watching
that first episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we watched the pilot together.
Because I'm like, because remember I looked at you like, why are we watching this?
Exactly. And then Dango kind of said the same thing because I watched the pilot over with him. And he's like, Eric's right on this, right? And I'm like, I don't agree. But like
me and Daniel agree a lot of times.
Yeah. But like the episode where his father became like the host of a kid, like the doctor's just like, you're gonna have to entertain the fact that your father thinks he's a kid's TV show host. And at one point, like he wanted to because he thought his wife was actually his secretary or his assistant or something. So he's like, we gotta fire that lady. And Gordon goes, "You want to fire mom?" And even the mom character's name is Flo, by the way. She's like, "Bob, you can't fire me. I'm your wife." And like to me, that was just entertaining. And then there's the episode where he got a speeding ticket and he had to go to driving school, which was actually a prison.
Wow.
So, and basically you had to compete in this race, and the winner would be the one that graduates. Because like if you end up having to go to driving school, that would screw up your insurance.
Yeah.
All right. So everybody had to go to driving school, and there was this one guy who was sabotaging everybody else because he needed to pass because he had been there for a while. And to me, it was like, it was stupid, but it was funny. So I'm going to give the Alf storylines and episodes, I'm going to give them an 8.
Okay.
All right, moving on to Star Trek. Go ahead, Eric.
I give it a 4.
Okay.
A 4. I know it's 1973, but I guess it's. Do you think some of them were based off the show storylines?
Probably. I mean, I only watched a couple because I personally didn't like it.
Yeah, I only watched like 2 episodes, so I personally found it boring. But sorry for the Star Trek fans.
Yeah.
I know we have a mutual friend. So
yeah. Which she said she was going to try to listen to this episode, by the way, because I told her that Star Trek was going to be part of a battle.
Okay. Yeah, I'll tell her how we did. I'll give her the link tomorrow. Yeah. If she didn't watch it. Oh, it's in the chat. That's right.
I don't know if she's part of that chat, but I think I did message it to her on Facebook.
Okay. If I have to, I'll text her the chat. Text her the link again.
Okay. You got anything else on it, or you want me to go?
No, I just thought it was kind of boring. I understand it was 1973, so at times I found it boring.
Yeah. So the first episode I watched, I didn't like. I thought it was dumb. The second episode was actually a little better, so I'm going to give it a 5.
So we're about the same.
Yeah. And the second episode, it was just like nobody knew who Spock was because they went through like some kind of time warp.
Yeah.
And in that time warp, apparently Spock had died when he was a little kid. So he had to go back and fix it. which I thought that was actually kind of a cool element. I mean, not cool enough to where I would continue watching more episodes, but
yeah, it was just not my cup of tea.
Yeah. But I mean, personally, but yeah, so I give it a 5.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Last category, right?
Last show
Biker Mice.
In this category, Biker Mice. Storyline / episodes.
I'll give it a 7. As I said earlier, I thought this was the most entertaining show I watched.
Yeah.
I think this is the one I watched more of. Either this one or He-Man I watched the most.
Yeah.
But I just found it entertaining and good storyline.
Yeah.
That fit the characters.
Yeah, and I agree. I feel like some of these episodes were like really cool. Like, you know, the first episode where they landed on Earth. Again, I think every character has a purpose in this. Like today, I watched the episode where it was Limburger wanted them destroyed, so he brought from Plutarch. He brought the Loogie brothers who stunk.
Yeah.
And like poor Charlie at the beginning of the episode, she went and she got them like 20, or she got them like 10 hot dogs. Came back and the hot dogs ended up all over her. So she went back, got 20 more, and then the Loogie brothers ran, you know, caused her to fall and, you know, get the stuff all over her. You know, there's the episode where they bring back like an Elvis like ghost from Plutarch that turns the biker mice against each other. Or another episode where they end up in the pits and they're trying to survive by fighting in the pits. And, you know, Lawrence Limburger, the villain, is just like, all right, I'm offering a reward to anybody that can destroy the biker mice. And they always find their way out of it. And it's always a good plot. And Charlie always ends up kind of being like the damsel in distress, but not really. Like I said, to me, she's more useful than April O'Neil.
Yeah.
Of the Turtles, because April's always finding herself in trouble.
Yeah.
Charlie's always helping the mice get out of trouble.
And they're always dissing her. Like, I remember one episode where I said, "Oh, this is the man's job," and all that.
Yeah.
They're always like singling her out and stuff, which she gets pissed about.
Yeah. I mean, she can hold her own.
Yeah. I like her better than April O'Neil.
Yeah. I know. I kind of feel the same way. So for the storylines, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it a 9.
Okay.
All right. The last category. And so real quick, I'll go ahead and I'll give its scores right now real quick. And hopefully this doesn't, you know, affect how we score. He-Man right now 6, 14. That's 20 plus 15 is 35 plus. So He-Man's got 47 points right now. Alf has 9, 14, 23, 11, 34. Alf has 47 and a half. Star Trek has 7, 14, 21, 14 and a half, 35, 9, 7, 35 and a half, 40. It's Star Trek has 44 and a half, and Biker Mice 8, 12, 20, 37. And Biker Mice has Biker Mice has 53 points right now. So it looks like that. Well, depending on how the scores go here, you know, you never know. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it looks like it looks. I mean, because the other three are like very tight right now. But Biker Mice looks like it might be running away with it, but we'll see after this last category. All right,
Yeah.
humor and entertainment value. We're gonna start with He-Man. We're gonna start with you, Eric. Scale of 1 to 10, humor and entertainment value. So technically, how entertained were you by this cartoon?
So basically, if I thought it was boring, so I'll give it a 3. I did find it boring at times,
Okay.
and it was hard. It was kind of hard to watch it for me. But
Yeah.
so sorry for the He-Man fans, but I just it wasn't my cup of tea.
Right. And to be honest with you, I think a lot of people would say that this was like the favorite to win this league, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So I'm going to go a little. I'm going to go higher.
Okay.
As far as entertainment value, I wasn't really entertained by He-Man. I felt like Orko was the most entertaining part of the show.
Yeah.
The little wizard guy. So I'm going to give it a 5.
Okay. Did you find it boring too?
At times, yes.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we're gonna final score this right now. So He-Man 6 plus 14 is 20, plus 15, 35, plus 12, 47, plus 8, 56. So He-Man's got a score of 56 points right now, or 56 points total.
Nice.
So I got a
nothing close to the other 4 from last week.
Yeah, but 2 shows will one show will obviously advance in the next round. But as far as occupying a wild card spot, one of these will occupy a wild card spot for now.
Okay. For now, because we've only done 2 leagues, so
yeah. So, all right, humor and entertainment value for Alf. Eric, go ahead.
Originally, I would have probably given it a 1, but after watching another episode or 2, I'll give it a 3.
Okay.
I didn't find it. I found it entertaining at sometimes, but not all the time. I was like rolling my eyes, like,
yeah,
why am I watching this? But
right. So again, I'm gonna go a little higher. Again, I love Alf, and the cartoon to me was entertaining at times. Entertaining, but also kind of dumb. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give it a 7.
I probably find that sitcom better.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would feel that way. But all right, so Alf 9.
I just thought Alf was kind of cheesy. The cartoon one. I mean,
right.
Miniseries, kind of cheesy.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of people might feel that way. Like I said, I mean, I personally enjoyed it. Like I said, I mean, Alf and his dad were the only 2 characters that I really liked, but I felt like they did carry the show.
Yeah.
All right, so 9 plus 14, that's 23. Plus 11 is 34. All right. Plus 13 and a half is 47 and a half. Plus 10. 57. So Alf has 57 and a half points right now.
Oh, wow. And He-Man was 56?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh. There's going to be a lot of people that be like, how in the world is Alf higher rated than He-Man? Yeah. Well, it happens. All right. The humor and entertainment value in Star Trek the Animated Series, Eric.
Sorry to our mutual friend, but I give it a 2. I apologize.
Yeah. I mean, you probably do enough to piss her off at work anyway, so.
No. Right. I don't think so. I hope not.
I don't know how anybody can work with you and not, you know, I don't know how you can work with anybody and not piss them off.
Hey.
And I'm saying that as somebody you did that to all the time for 7 years.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. But all right, so you give it a 2.
Mm.
All right. I'm not going to be much better. I'm giving it a 4 because I really was not entertained by it.
Yeah. I think it's mostly because it was 1973.
Well, the Flintstones were around in the 60s and they were entertaining.
That's true. Yeah, I can't say the year. Okay.
Yeah. But
I just wasn't a Star Trek fan. I'll just say that.
Yeah, and that might hurt things. But all right, so Star Trek. So 7 plus 14, 21 plus 14 and a half, 35 and a half, plus 9, 44 and a half, plus 6, 50 and a half. So 50.5 for Star Trek. So Star Trek will not be
in the running
at all. So, all right.
Probably be last place.
Yeah. Alf is at 57 and a half points right now. Now coming into this round, Biker Mice had 53.
Yeah, so Alf is going to be the wild card for now.
I mean, we still have to go through the score, but all right, humor and entertainment value for Biker Mice, Eric.
I give it a 7. I was entertained by this. I thought it was a good show.
Yeah.
I would watch a couple episodes more.
Yeah.
Isn't this Clint's fair show?
No, that was Street Sharks.
Oh, Street Sharks. Hold on.
So
I'm actually. Street Sharks didn't make our list, right?
I didn't put it on any of mine.
No.
Would have been more acceptable blue than Ninja Turtles because one of the sharks is blue.
That's right.
But all right, so humor and entertainment value for me for Biker Mice. Grease Pit, who's one of the villains, but he's kind of clumsy, and he's voiced by Brad Garrett, who's a very good comedic actor and was a very good voice actor before he got into sitcoms. He's hilarious. Like when the one episode that I saw earlier when he said something, Limburger said, all right, you screwed up. He goes, I'm docking you a week's pay. And he goes, wait a minute, I'm supposed to get paid for this job? And then there was a thing where he's like, all right, there's only one. Limburger's like, all right, there's only one. Do you know what this means about something? And Grease Pit goes, they're going to join the union? And it's just kind of one-liners, and he's just so goofy. And I was always entertained by what the Biker Mice were doing. So I'm gonna give this. I'm giving it a 10. So just because of
the humor,
just for the humor and entertainment value, because I was very entertained. I was mostly entertained by the villain Grease Pit. He did add a lot of comedic value, but even the Biker Mice sometimes had the one-liners, and even Charlie sometimes when she's telling Vinny off. So, all right. So the score, 8 plus 12 is 20, plus 17, 37, plus 16 is 53, plus 17 is 70. So Biker Mice wins this with 70 points. And Alf comes in at second, 57 and a half. He-Man came in third at 56. Star Trek comes in last at 50 and a half.
They won in a landslide.
Yeah. They won by 17. It wasn't as close as last week. The second and third place were.
Yeah. And even the third and fourth were 6 points.
Yeah. So, so Biker Mice moves on automatically because they win this league. So they join Ninja Turtles. And
that would be an interesting matchup too. If we had Ninja Turtles.
If that's what happens. I mean, the seeding is going to depend on the points.
Yeah.
So, but right now, or the points with like the 10 winners, and then the wild cards will kind of get like what'll probably happen is TMNT will probably face they'll probably face like wild card number 4, so the wild card that had like the least amount of points.
Yeah, which right now they'll be number 1 seed.
Yeah. So right now TMNT would be number 1 seed, and well, actually no, because the top 2 seeds would actually get the bye.
Yeah. Okay.
So
right now they have the bye.
Right now, Ninja Turtles and Biker Mice, because Biker Mice won.
They have the bye.
Even though Simpsons was only down by a half a point, they didn't win.
They're in the same league.
They're going to be a wild card.
Yep.
So Biker Mice and Ninja Turtles right now would get the buys.
Okay.
Into the next round.
So what league do you want to do next?
Well, it would be one of the leagues you selected.
Okay. Can I pick?
Well, yeah, that's why I led with it's one of the leagues you selected.
Oh. So let's do the video game.
All right. So the video game, it's Pokemon, Street Fighter, Donkey Kong, and the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Well, I'm sure I can find Pokemon, obviously.
Donkey
Kong.
Donkey Kong, I think,
might be the hardest one.
Donkey Kong Country. Says here it's on Tubi.
Oh, okay. I think I have Tubi.
I mean, it's free, so it's right up your alley, you cheap bum.
Hey.
So, and then Street Fighter is on Sling.
Okay.
But maybe I can find episodes on YouTube.
I'm sure there's something on YouTube. Even if we watch 1 or 2, even if we watch 2 episodes.
Yeah. Street Fighter animated.
And Pokemon is obviously... Pokemon is probably on Paramount?
It might even be on HBO Max. And yes, Street Fighter here is on
YouTube.
There are episodes on YouTube.
Okay,
probably not very many, but you can find them.
Okay.
Let's see. Pokemon animated series. It's on Freevee, so technically it should be on Amazon Prime.
Hey, we might be able to get one of our buddies in our, or no, they're not in that chat. Never mind. Our old friend.
Which one?
John and
Oh no, they're in the chat.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I can ask them.
Maybe they would want to join or in the chat, because I know they're both. Are they both big Pokemon guys?
I think so.
Yeah, I know John is.
Let's see. Pokemon, the series, the beginning. So, all right. So the one that came out in 1998.
Yeah, the original. OG.
Yeah. So, yeah, anything that says 1998, because it says Pokemon the series Diamond, Pokemon the series Gold, and something. Pokemon the series the beginning. Hold on. Oh yeah, it'd probably be a good idea to go to the beginning.
Yeah.
So
have you watched Pokemon before?
I used to watch it all the time when I was a teenager.
Oh. Yeah, I haven't watched it in a long time myself, so
yeah,
I'll be interested to watch it.
But yeah, we could probably, because this is going to be the video game league, we can probably get more people to help us judge, and that would actually kind of help things out a little bit because of
the other two.
That would help the points, and that would help somebody probably catch up to Ninja Turtles.
Yep.
But yeah, so right now As far as the tournament goes, Ninja Turtles moves on automatically, obviously, after last week's win. Biker Mice moves on automatically. Right now, they get the buys.
I think Pokemon might get up close to, if we have enough judges, I think it might be one of those that gets to Ninja Turtles and Simpsons.
Well, it depends. I'd have to go back and I'd have to rewatch Street Fighter, and I'd have to rewatch Donkey Kong. And I personally like the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about Super Mario. Duh. Okay.
Yeah. Super Mario Brothers Super Show, by the way, is also on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Last I knew.
Yeah. So any of these four could actually give Ninja Turtles and Simpsons run for their money if we get enough judges.
Yeah, and if either one of them make it, because even again, depending on how many judges we can get, which we should at least be able to get like one more.
Hopefully there's.
Well, even like if we can just get judges in the chat room.
Yeah.
Like if Mark would have judged, then we would have, I would have counted it. The only reason why I didn't count Kenny, Liz, and Mark from last week is because having 6 judges when you don't know how many are going to
that's a lot of things to add up live on.
Live on air, especially when you give yourself an hour time limit.
Yeah. And we were in a rush last week, so.
Exactly. So, but the video game series, the video game league, which will be January 4th, by the way, it's going to be our first episode of 2025.
Yep.
Probably going to be competitive. Because these are 4 very popular video game franchises, by the way.
Exactly. Hopefully you can get Archie on.
Huh?
Maybe we can get back Archie.
I'll ask him.
Is he like a big video? Because I know he was talking about video games last week.
I mean, I'm sure he played Mario.
Yeah.
And Donkey Kong and probably Street Fighter.
Yeah.
So I'll ask him. I mean, I'm not going to ask him till like in a couple of weeks when this show gets closer.
Yeah. And I'll ask Liz.
Yeah. Like I said, she can even judge from the chat room. But yeah. It's going to be, I mean, this league was kind of competitive here too, but these were like kind of not necessarily bottom feeders, but they're not as popular as the shows we did last week.
Yeah.
Definitely not going to be as popular. And again, we're talking as if it's a definite that we're going to get more people on the show. We don't know that.
Yeah.
We're hoping.
Yeah. At least 1 or 2.
Yeah. But
you think you can get Daniel?
I don't know if he would do the video games though.
Because I know he's a big video game guy too.
He might. I'll ask him.
Okay.
I don't know if he'll do it or not, but because I don't think he's really, like I said, he's played the video games. I don't know if he'll actually like watch the shows.
Fair enough.
But
maybe get Sean.
I mean, he said, because I asked him if he could do this one, and he's taking a trip, but he was like, I'll try to do the next one.
Okay.
Right, cool. So
awesome.
But yeah, so this one, because I figure this one and then the superhero league that we have, those will probably be like the 2 that we could probably get like the most interest in.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a couple of them that I think.
Oh, definitely the superhero one.
Yeah. And there's a couple other, because we do have some, big cartoons still in this thing.
Definitely.
So, but all right. So, like I said, the scores tonight, Biker Mice from Mars scored a total of 70 points. They automatically move on to the next round because they won their league. They joined Ninja Turtles. Right now, both Biker Mice from Mars and Ninja Turtles have the buys. Now, that'll change if somebody else wins and has more points. But then coming in second place with 57.5 was Alf the Animated Series. They would get the 4th wild card spot right now. They have them along with Simpsons, Captain Planet, and Sonic Saturday AM. He-Man was close, came in at 56. Star Trek came in at 50 and a half. This was a lot more. This was competitive, but not like
last week.
Last week was like we just kept giving them high scores. This week was they were okay.
Yeah, exactly. Which is fine. We're gonna have some leagues like that.
Yeah. But now the fact that like Biker Mice is gonna be one of those that they moved on. They moved on over He-Man.
Yeah. Which a lot of people are probably gonna be surprised at.
Oh, I'm probably gonna get shot at.
I don't.
Because
why you can blame me?
I usually do. But yeah, no. So all right. So this was fun. Next 2 weeks from tonight, January the 4th,
2025. Can't believe it. I can't believe this is our last show of the year.
I know. January 4th, 2025, the Video Game League, Donkey Kong Adventures, Super Mario Brothers Super Show, Street Fighter, and Pokemon.
Yep. Just text me that again.
What the league is?
Yeah.
Why don't you have it written down? I sent it to you when
Oh yeah.
Like you picked it. And I messaged it to you after we got off the air that week. After I got done yelling at you for putting green turtles in a blue league.
Now I remember, yeah. Oh yeah. I have it.
Yeah, so just look in your phone.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's going to be the show in 2 weeks. Biker Mice moves on here. Them and Ninja Turtles definitely have a spot in the single elimination tournament. Make sure tomorrow, I don't know what time it's actually going to come out, but make sure tomorrow to listen to Daniel and Mindy with the Stabcast. And then we're done as far as shows go for the rest of the year.
Yep.
Except for Eric's unscripted sports shows.
Yeah.
So, all right. I'm Dutchy. That's Money E. This has been the Cartoon Classic for When Toons Combine, the Other Planets League. And we'll see everybody in the new year. Eric, take care of the shorts, please.
Yep. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Stay safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
But, all right. And then don't forget to upload the shows on Spotify.
Yes, sir.
All right. Later, everybody.
Later. Right.